Good morning, everybody. I haven't been online for a while, for about a week, which I apologize for. I had a relatively, um, I don't even know, like a different kind of week. I had completed the 1 month challenge, which I mentioned last video, and um, this meant, I guess, like a little downtime, or like I was down for a little bit, and but today I figured I'll do my best to post a video, even though I really don't feel like it. I've I set myself the goal to post or share something with you every day, and in best case it's a good story. I'm not sure if I have a story or if whatever I have is good today, but it doesn't matter. I'll try anyways. So I think what is maybe interesting to you, or what I think is relevant at least, is I've been thinking a lot about the topic of vulnerability, about not just pretending everything's fine, or if something's fine, sharing it authentically. I've last week I would say I've been really aiming to be vulnerable and to be honest, with the people around me, and also of course with myself. And I think actually that's helped me a lot, sort of, to not fear sharing something that may not be just always the best thing in the world. Maybe one day I'm feeling a little down, someday I feel up. And I've noticed that, especially in my conversations, for example, with my girlfriend, that oftentimes when I don't say what I feel, but I just sort of that she doesn't understand me. However, when I do say, hey, actually, all I was trying, in a conversation, in a discussion, even at the end, if I catch myself and say, like, what am I trying to really say here? And sometimes and oftentimes it's really just I just really like you, and I'm struggling to find the right words to say that to you, and I would like to see you, or I would like to spend time with you, and just being very honest about one's feelings is very liberating, and it helps, I think, the other person. I think it helped, for example, my girlfriend quite a bit, um, and I think there's maybe sometimes people misunderstand being vulnerable with being down. So I've noticed that as well when I say, hey, I'm just very vulnerable right now. I would call it raw, like like a raw nerve. Then it's maybe not always, that doesn't mean that I'm feeling bad. I'm just feeling very sensitive. Anyways, so we had a long weekend this weekend, and as always, I spend a lot of that time alone, like I have spent most of my life by myself. Ever since I was a child, I was the only child. We lived a little bit outside of people's reach when I grew up, and later as well. And so I've spent a lot of time alone again, which has been really frustrating me. Not because it happens, but because that's the way I am, or that's how I've lived most of my life. Even when I was in New York, I didn't spend so much time with others, and it's definitely, I'm noticing how it's getting to me, how I'm not able to function so well. I think I've gotten so since yesterday, and relatively suddenly, I think I've fallen into a depressive episode. I think there's a few factors that contribute to that. I didn't see that coming. Again, it's one of the most frustrating things in my life over the last 20 years that out of nowhere, I basically can't get out of bed. And so yesterday it was a beautiful day. Everyone was out, and I basically just stayed in bed or I slept. Sleeping for me is, I guess, a sort of escapism. I slept all throughout the day yesterday, and then I went to bed really relatively early, around 10, and I slept until 8. So I slept more than I was awake in the last 48 hours, which I'm trying to accept and acknowledge, because that's just the way it is sometimes when you struggle with depression and anxiety, I guess. And I guess yesterday I didn't even want to talk to anyone, and I decided, which is, I think, was a good decision, to write out all the things that aren't working in my life. I think this is something that I don't know who does that, but I wrote it out, not in order to depress me more. Maybe that actually happened. That's possible, but I just wanted to sort of face the things and face the problems. And I mentioned to you last week this sort of model of, life happens, and life can happen in small increments, like something, and then there was if you remember correctly, there was either you go into a sort of victim mode, or you go into a what I would call a creator mode, which are on the opposite side of the spectrum in terms of energy. And even though so yesterday, when I made the list of things that I wish were different in my life, or about me, I did that intentionally to say, okay, let's just look at all the things, all the life that has happened so far, that's obviously bothering me. And instead of going straight to victim role and saying, oh, life is too hard, and I'm broken and whatever, I said, I made a list of, and I'm not going to share that with you right now, because this is really, really, really personal, and maybe some other day. But it was a long list of things that have happened in my life that I'm, in this specific case, not so happy about. And so what I did, and I think this took a lot of energy, and this is why I slept so much too, I went to each item in the list and looked at it and asked, so tell me, so for this thing, let's say work, like my work, I'm not making the progress I want. So what's really happening here, right? So just to sort of ask the question, what's happening? And then when I've explained it to a certain degree, and then instead of saying, okay, so this is happening, and I'm a victim of myself or of the world, to say, okay, let's accept that. Let's acknowledge the way it is right now. And this again comes from that book, The One Thing, and it's a process towards creative expression. So when life happens, something doesn't work out, or something doesn't work out, either way, to say what's happening, then whatever is happening, to acknowledge that and to accept that. And so yesterday I went through the list of 20 things in my life that had happened, or that are happening, that are not making me happy. And for each of them, I asked exactly, so what's really happening here? And even just before even moving forward, allowing me to accept that. And yeah, that was pretty powerful. Took a lot of energy, and yeah. So that's where I'm at right now. Not much to add to that. A lot of problems in my life that I need to figure out, and definitely most things aren't working out the way I want them, and that's frustrating me. And especially, I would say, it's not the things that aren't working out. It's actually that I'm, obviously the cause of it, and the root of it all. Yeah, I don't know where to go with this yet. But I'll keep you posted. This was obviously the most exciting and most upbeat and most energetic post I've done. But I figured, share with you what's really going on, instead of, just pretending everything is fine when it's not, and we'll find a way. So I'll see you on the next round. Okay, bye bye.